Minutes for WVQC radio?
WVQC, hang on 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Find that for you.
Leave my purse right here.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Councilman Young, nice
How
to
are
meet you.
You are
I am Lynn Wilson.
Lynn, nice to
and
meet
with
you.
WVQC Radio.
Nice to meet
And
you.
I'm also known as the Happy Hemptress, and our radio show is HempRock Radio.
What am I getting into?
Well, you know, we understand
Mhm.
that you are the councilman who put on the table to repeal the marijuana ordinance
That's true.
that was here in Cincinnati, and that was passed in the budget.
That's right.
And so, first of all, we'd like to thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome.
We really appreciate it.
Please sit down.
Well, this is something that we have fought for since '05,
Mhm.
and we did stop it at '05, and then in '06, as you know,
You can do that sitting down. You're welcome to take a seat.
This is my co-host. He's known as the Burn Man.
The Burn Man.
The Burn Man is
Okay.
Chuck Burns.
This is Miles Lindell. Miles and I work
Miles,
together.
nice to meet you. And so we've been kind of following this for many years now. We've got a website up, CincinnatiMarijuanaLaw.com, to, I don't want to use the word expose, but show the stats of what this ordinance brought to our city that you obviously are aware of.
Well, some of them, not all.
Well, that it was too much for our budget,
Yes.
that it was costing our city too much money to go after people that smoke marijuana. And that was our contention from the beginning, and that it also would not find all the guns on the street. And as some of the stats show, of course, it did not stop the gun violence. All it did was clog our courts and spend too much money from the city. So on that, that's why I wanted to come to you and thank you for that. And so I'm curious, I know that Mayor Roxanne Qualls, during the meeting, took Cecil aside for about 20 minutes to convince him to vote yes on the line item. I don't know who else was in that meeting, but regardless, for me, it was a brilliant thing for the council to do.
Well, thank you.
Even if it was only $300,000 a year, that's a lot of money. And I think it's going to save our city a lot of money and maybe bring some people back into our town that have left.
Well, in addition to saving money, it also helps to reduce the misery index. That's what I call it. Because we've had word that significant numbers of young people have found themselves unable to obtain a loan because of this particular ordinance, or that they could not get into the school of choice because of this particular ordinance. So there are just issues that are attendant to that. But don't misunderstand me. I think that those people who passed the ordinance at the time they passed it, it made sense to them for the issues they were facing. But times have changed, people have changed, conditions have changed, and the ordinance just no longer serve the purpose it was intended to serve.
Yes, I agree.
So that's the reason I wanted to get rid of it. In addition to the fact that it just costs way too much to enforce.
Exactly. Well, you know, across the board, prohibition against marijuana, I don't want to get into the drug war itself, but prohibition against marijuana itself is costing our whole country a lot, not just our city. So for the city to go backwards 5 years ago just did not, for us, whether or not it had to do with marijuana, you know, our own use of marijuana, that is, it didn't serve us a purpose because everywhere it shows that more prohibition creates bigger issues and costs the cities and the counties and the states more money.
Well, I don't pretend to have expertise on that.
Yeah.
I really did not get that deeply into it. I'm a member of Cincinnati City Council, and my attention is focused almost strictly on what's going on in Cincinnati.
Yes.
And if that ordinance did not cause the misery that it caused and was not as expensive as it is, in other words, not being cost effective,
Yes.
I would not have bothered that.
Yes.
I do not advocate legalizing any drug. I have not done enough analysis to know whether there's a win or loss of the drug war.
Yes.
Those are things that are of interest, but my primary interest is what's going on in Cincinnati and the
Yes.
effect that particular ordinance was having on the people who live here. I did not view it as a necessary tool for our police officers. I could not reconcile the cost of enforcing that ordinance with the misery that I think it was inflicting on our community in general.
Yes.
And I think $300,000 is a rather conservative estimate of what it will actually save us.
Yeah, I do
So
too.
those are the reasons, you know. But I don't have some overall goal of legalizing marijuana. That's for people smarter than me to figure out.
Yes, and that really isn't the issue at the moment either, because whether or not, you know, if the whole country legalizes our feds, then that's brilliant. But until then, the little municipalities and the cities and the counties and the states have to deal with it themselves.
We do.
And for me, first of all, it shows that you are a diligent councilman to look at it as, hey, it's a budget thing. And beyond that, is it helping the city?
Right.
And that really is the most important thing. It did not help our
It
city.
did not help our city.
Might have helped a bunch
And
of
it does cost
attorneys.
us too much. Now, I imagine there's some lawyers who are not extremely happy that it's gone, but
I'm
those
sure they are.
individuals who deal in drugs for more than just their personal use, lawyers will not find any shortage of those folks.
That's right. That's
But
right.
I'm thinking about people who, but for the fact of that ordinance, we would consider to be law-abiding people.
That's right.
They work, they contribute to society. Suddenly they don't have a job because they had a marijuana cigarette.
That's it.
I cannot sleep with that.
Maybe one more quick question. We got to get them on a conference call. So.
Absolutely. Well, again, that's really the crux of the issue. If it isn't helping the city and it's damaging the people,
Then it needs to go.
then that's what your job is to do. And again,
Yes.
it isn't even about another question. Again, I just want to thank you for doing the right thing and looking at it as the way it should be looked at.
Well, you are very, very welcome. I'm glad you're pleased. I've heard from a number of people who are, so
Very good.
you're in good company.
Very good. Councilman
you so
Young,
much.
thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.